everyone, this is Nico from Licks of the Beast, and in this video I'm going to tell you about this very nice, very impressive, and very affordable Donner DST-400 guitar. And I'm going to play some really cool Iron Maiden licks. Ever since I started this Licks of the Beast project a little over 2 years ago, I've been receiving messages asking about what is a good guitar to get if you don't want to spend a lot of money. Now sometimes it's because one is a beginner and doesn't yet know what they like, so they just want a good enough instrument to start on until they figure it out. Other times it's to have a spare guitar, perhaps to keep in a different tuning. And in some cases, someone just wants or needs a new guitar and doesn't want to spend a lot of money. In all of these scenarios, I usually have a bit of a hard time making any recommendations because I haven't owned a budget-friendly guitar in over 20 years. And I actually went out and bought 2 different ones for this exact purpose, hoping to be able to make a review video that might be useful to some of you asking these questions. And I ended up sending both of them back because I ultimately didn't think they were any good. And I didn't want to recommend something I wouldn't have kept for myself. So when Donner reached out to me to ask if I would review one of their new guitars, I got a little bit excited because I had seen a few reviews by other guitar channels that I respect, and they seemed overwhelmingly positive. So my thought was, if this thing is as good as some people are saying it is, I'll finally have something I can recommend. And I get a cool new guitar as a bonus. If you don't know Donner, they have been around for about 10 years, and many guitar players know them for making affordable, respectable quality versions of popular guitar-related products, mainly things like effects pedals, pedal boards, power supplies, etc. They also make decent beginner guitars and other instruments as well. Now, I actually have had a few of their effects pedals on my pedal board for over 3 years, and they've been excellent. I have their chorus, flanger, and blues drive, and I think they're comparable to their more expensive top brand counterparts. So my limited experience with Donner products has been very good until now. In the interest of full disclosure, the folks at Donner were kind enough to send me this guitar to try and to keep. So I did not go out and buy this myself. However, I'm not getting paid in any way to make this video, nor does Donner have any input on what I say about their product. My only condition to them was that I would call it as I saw it, and I would review the guitar for my audience honestly, both for the positive and the negative. So here's my review. Ordering was quick and easy, and although I had initially asked for the black one, the one I received is in the only other color option. This very nice looking green color that shows the wood grain really well and is actually a very attractive finish. I've been playing this guitar for a few days now, and I have to say I'm very impressed. I find myself automatically reaching for it even though every other guitar on the stand is worth anywhere from 2.5 to literally 12 times the price. Now of course, I'm not suggesting it's as good as any of those, but what I am saying is that it's still very much enjoyable to play even to someone who has much more high-end alternatives at arm's reach. So before I get into the details, I just want to say real quick, to those of you who just want to know whether or not this is a good guitar, yes, it most definitely is. It plays nicely, the neck and fretboard feel smooth, it sounds good, it came set up almost perfectly right out of the box, it tunes up well and it stays in tune even with fairly heavy string bending, and it has nice features like a solid 2-point trem and a single humbucker configuration with a coil split function for the humbucker. Alright, now let's get into some details. First of all, the specs. The body is made of alder, which is a great choice wood for a Strat. And the wood grain looks very nice, especially in this dark green finish. This is a great looking Strat body, regardless of price point. And aesthetics do matter on a guitar, so kudos to Donner for that. The neck is a AAA Canadian maple neck with an Indian laurel fretboard that looks nice and feels very good in the hand. It's perhaps a tad more stiff than rosewood, but nowadays, most guitars with dark fretboards, you're looking at Indian Laurel, Pau Ferro, or something in that vein, which is more sustainable and less expensive to produce. So this is perfectly fine. The finish on the neck is a smooth satin finish and not at all sticky, so your hand glides nicely from one position to the next. And the frets, honestly, they're just a bit sharper than what I would want my frets to feel like. But, and this is a big but, I'm particularly picky about sharp frets, and I will have my luthier file down frets even on high-end guitars sometimes. And this is still the best fret job I have seen on any guitar, even close to this price point. This, you take a fine grit sanding block to the frets real quick and it's going to be perfect. So in that respect, the fretboard is actually quite good. The bridge is a 2-point trem with a pop-in bar. Now that is something you don't ever find on lower priced guitars, so that's a really neat feature. I find the angle of the bar a little bit weird, as you have to be careful not to position it directly over the volume knob or it'll touch. But I'm nitpicking here. The spring tension on this thing is quite stiff, so I had to adjust that to make it more easily usable. But that's easy, as you basically just turn 2 screws, tune back to pitch, check and repeat a few times until it's how you like it. Now the trem works smoothly and it stays in tune quite well, as long as you're not going all Jimi Hendrix with it. The tuning pegs are vintage style tuners, which I always like because the tip of the string goes inside and you don't get it caught in the gig bag or have them prick your fingers, which is a horrendous feeling. They also tune up well and quite precisely, and they hold tune, which is not at all obvious with lower priced guitars. The pickups are Korean made Alnico pickups and they sound surprisingly good. You can get a nice variety of tones with this guitar. The tone and volume controls are actually functional, and the humbucker has a coil split feature via a push-pull switch on the tone knob. This gives you a total of 7 pickup combinations, the ones from the 5-way switch and the 2 additional ones you get when you split the humbucker for positions 1 and 2. This is a fantastic feature to have on a guitar, and I don't think I've ever seen it on one in this price range. You get the heavier tone and hum cancelling of the humbucker, but you still have access to more classic single coil Strat sounds when you want them. Best of all, you get no volume loss when splitting the coils, and that is very cool. For most of you watching this channel, you're into Iron Maiden, you're mostly concerned with a good crunchy sound that is bright but not sparkly and dark enough without being muddy. Now of course, you can always swap out the bridge pickup for something like a Super Distortion or a JB for heavier rock and classic metal tones, but honestly, all 3 stock pickups sound just fine as is. I've played this back to back with both my Super Distortion equipped Strat and my Jackson SDX, which has a JB on it. Now the Donner humbucker didn't stand out negatively in any way, so personally, I wouldn't feel the need to upgrade the pickups on this guitar. Now again, please don't misunderstand me. Of course, it's not as good as a Super Distortion or a JB, but it's good enough that you don't need to change it for it to sound good when you're playing your favorite Iron Maiden riffs and licks. that all sounded pretty sweet, didn't it? And you see what I mean about the pickups? They may not be as full or as rich as a Super Distortion or a JB, but they're similar enough to a JB, and they sound quite good overall, both clean and dirty. And considering one of those pickups is almost half the price of this entire guitar, it's impossible to not be impressed with what Donner has done here. So overall, the pros are the gorgeous finish, the comfortable satin neck, the 2-point trem, good quality pickups, and the coil split feature. The cons, maybe the fret edges could be polished a little nicer, but at this price point, this is really nitpicking. So again, I would definitely recommend this guitar to anyone wanting an affordable Strat style guitar that plays well and looks and sounds good. I would especially recommend this to beginners and intermediate players, as this will be an instrument you'll be able to practice on for hours comfortably and in tune. It'll give you a bunch of tonal options to work with for different genres of music you might want to practice and play. And you'll still have money left over for a decent amplifier or a good plugin, and perhaps some one-on-one lessons or online learning program. So if you want to get one of these, Donner is having a special promotion with Amazon US only, valid until June 30th. Enter promo code 10NAM2206 and you'll get $20 off the regular price. So I hope this was helpful and interesting, and of course, let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to know that I might have left out. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and stay tuned for more licks of the beast.